If you're planning on gambling on any cruise ship, you need to ask yourself this very important question before you even get aboard. How's it going? Thank you so much for checking out the channel. All about getting you on the world's biggest and best cruise ships and paying no fare, getting free play, all through the casino and casino play, and spending a lot less doing it. I got tons of videos on my channel walking you through how I did it and how you can do it too. This is a very important subject, and I don't want to come off as preachy, but I've had a lot of success over the last nearly 5 years getting comps across Royal Caribbean, Princess, Carnival, Virgin Voyages, MSC, and more. And I've done it for a lot less. My average spend per day in the casino across my 21 or so cruises on Royal Caribbean that were all comped is about $50 a day. From that $50 a day, I've managed to get drinks all around the casino all year long. I've got a premium tier award cruise for hitting Prime every year. And then of course I'm getting tons and tons of marketing offers. So that's more comped cruises for me and a guest, some with free play, some ocean views and balconies. So that's a great value. However, the reason that the cruise lines are doing this is because they want you to gamble more in the casino. So that's what we're trying to avoid, because we want to make sure that these comps have good value. So the number one question you have to ask yourself before you get on board is, why am I gambling? Now, I know that seems maybe like it's an obvious question or it's intuitive, but it's actually not. A lot of friends and people that I know struggle in the casino a lot of times because they don't really have an objective when they go in the casino. They're just, they get on a cruise ship, they love being in the casino, and they just go hog wild. They don't really think too much about a budget or what they're trying to achieve in the casino. If you can determine what you're trying to get out of your gaming sessions in the casino throughout your cruise, then you can come up with a strategy to, leave the cruise at the end happy with whatever decision you've made. Now, there's a lot of different scenarios, and all of these involve, different reasons and different bankrolls and different, measures of happiness. So another thing you're going to do once you determine what your why is to set yourself a realistic budget to achieve those goals. And for some of your objectives, you may not actually have the bankroll in order to achieve these things. So you have to be realistic that if you have a certain objective, that you come with a bankroll that matches that objective. So let's say you're going on a 7-night on a Royal Caribbean ship and you want to get an instant certificate. If you don't know what an instant certificate is, it's basically an instant award of a free cruise, maybe some free play, some other upgrades, depending on the certificate level that you earn. So the first thing you're going to do if you want to hit an instant certificate is you're going to go to the host desk and you're going to find out what the certificates are for each level. Determine what level you want to hit depending on what's available on each certificate. And then that is your goal that you're setting for the cruise. So let's just, for math's sake, let's say that you want to hit that 2,000 point certificate. So for a 2,000 point certificate, realistically, using the math, that $5 cycled through a slot machine is 1 point, and your return to player, a really attainable return to player, is about 80%. Then it's going to cost you about $1 a point to hit that goal. So through that 7 nights, you're probably going to spend about $2,000 to get that certificate. Now, of course, RTP is higher. So if you actually average, you're probably going to get it for a little bit less, but you can have really bad gaming sessions. You can have really good gaming sessions. This is just a guideline to determine what your bankroll is going to be. So if I was really trying to hit the 2,000 point certificate, I would set myself a budget of $2,000 for that sailing. Let's say you're trying to hit jackpots. Well, that is an entirely different conversation. If you want to hit jackpots and you want to give yourself a decent chance of doing that, your bets are going to have to be much higher, because with many of these machines, the higher you bet, the easier the jackpots are to trigger and the higher the jackpots are going to be. Now, I never play to hit jackpots because jackpots are really hard to hit. It's usually a losing proposition. So that's probably for somebody who's got a lot of discretionary income and they can come on board with thousands and thousands of dollars and be totally happy with losing that. So if you're trying to hit jackpots, you got to come with the bankroll. You can't come on a 7-night with $1,000 bankroll and realistically expect to hit jackpots. Chances are you're going to burn through that money in the first couple of days. And now where are you? You're down $1,000. And in your mind, you're going to either maybe try to chase those losses, or you're going to try to say, well, if I keep playing, I'll finally hit the jackpot. And then all of a sudden you're thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in the hole. So you have to be very careful if you're deciding that you want to hit jackpots. Think about it realistically. Now, if you're like me and you're just trying to generate marketing offers, so marketing offers are emails and snail mailers that offer you comped cruises, sometimes some free play. Depending on your level of play, you can get like ocean views or balconies, stuff like that. If you're trying to do that, you can set yourself a significantly lower budget. Also, because marketing offers aren't necessarily points-based, you're trying to extend your time playing in the casino. That is the most heavily weighted factor of THEO, or theoretical average losses. And that's the calculation that Royal Caribbean uses to decide who's going to get these marketing offers and how good they're going to be. So if you don't mind getting the lower offers, I usually get 06s, 05s, sometimes 04s. $100 budget a day playing minimum bets, lower volatility machines. That generally gives me enough playtime throughout the cruise to continually earn these marketing offers. Now, I lose about $50 a day in the casino on average, but of course that is on average. So I might have days where I lose quite a bit more. I might have days where I'm actually up. That's going to happen with you too. And that's why I recommend a $100 a day budget. So you also need to consider Prime with Royal Caribbean when you're figuring into these calculations. When you hit Prime, of course, you get free drinks for an entire year, which is a huge value and something to consider. You get your Prime tier cruise, which can be a really, really nice cruise. Fairly new ships, longer itineraries, all over the place. So that is a high value cruise. And then finally, it's small, but it's not nothing. You also can wager without convenience fees. So what that means is you can take money out through your account on the machine and you won't be charged that 3% convenience fee. So I feel like everybody should try to hit Prime. Even if, for instance, you only cruise once a year. It might be initial larger outlay. So, Prime is 2,500 points. So for 2,500 points on one sailing, you're looking at spending $2,500. But you not only get that Prime cruise and all those other things, but you're also going to get that $2,500 instant certificate. That's another really, really good certificate. So there is some value there as well. But for most of us who are doing this, we're generally speaking going on more than one cruise a year. For me, for instance, I'm in Florida, so I go on like many cruises a year. So for me, I can hit Prime as I go. I don't really look at, I've got to hit Prime, because I know if I'm going on like 5 Royal Caribbean cruises in a year, that's 500 points a cruise. And I'm generally speaking gonna hit that with not too much issues. So you actually may have more than one why. And if you do have more than one why, you should focus on the one that's more attainable. So for instance, maybe you have your 2 whys are, I want to hit jackpots. I love hitting jackpots, but I also really like playing slots. I like being around people. I like the sound. I like playing the game. It's a form of entertainment for me. So if that's the case, focus on the fun factor. Make sure that you're always having fun. And make sure that jackpot, hitting jackpots, doesn't take over and ruin the fun. Because if that happens, you're going to end up spending a lot more money than you want, and you're going to end up leaving that cruise feeling disappointed or angry or depressed. And you don't want to do that, right? We're going on cruises to have fun. We're supposed to be having fun in the casino. So make sure you're always thinking about that when you're playing. Finally, stick to your budget. So again, I said, think about what your why is, think about what your realistic budget is to achieve that why, and then decide how you're going to disperse your budget. So for instance, if I want to earn 100 points a day because I'm working towards Prime, and I know that 100 points a day, generally speaking, with low volatility and low bets, is going to give me enough time played to keep getting marketing offers, I'm going to need $700 to facilitate that on a 7-night cruise. Now, if you struggle with discipline, I highly recommend you do a by-day budget. So you give yourself $100 on day one. If you burn through that, you're not gambling anymore. Go to the bar, hang out with people there, talk about their gaming sessions, go to a show, go have something to eat, but just limit yourself to that $100 a day if you struggle with just staying true to what your budget is. I used to do this for the first probably year or so. I was pretty good at just doing $100 a day, but now I trust myself enough that I will spend more earlier in the cruise of my overall bankroll because I know that I'm gonna be more disciplined at the end. Now, I'm not always perfect. I've gone over several times, but there's also been times when I've just stopped. There's been times when I've said enough is enough. There's been times when I've recouped some of my money when I've made bad mistakes, and I just stop myself because I know that I can't continually go over my budget and spend more than I want because that means I'm going to be able to cruise less. And I want to cruise more. I want this to be a value. That's why this channel exists. And that's why I do the method that I do. And I've been successful at it. So even though in the moment you may want to spend over your budget, think about the long term. Do you want to cruise more? Do you want to have healthy finances based on what your bankroll is going to be and what you can afford to lose? You need to think about that. So I hope this helped you. I hope it didn't sound too preachy. I'm not trying to preach. I'm just trying to help because I've been through it too. And I just want people to be successful at the casino. And I want you to be able to cruise a lot and have a really good time. Are there any tips or tricks that you've figured out in the casino that maybe other people could use that would be really helpful? Please put them below in the comments. I would love to see them. Okay, coming up, I'm really excited. So you remember a few months ago, I was on one of the first sailings of the gorgeous Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas. Well, I get to go on the maiden Caribbean voyage of another star, Star Princess. That is next week. I will be on starting on Friday, and I absolutely can't wait. I want to see if they made any changes between Star Princess and Sun Princess. I want to see how the casino is and how I do in the casino. So I've got some fun content that I'm planning for next weekend when I'm aboard. And then of course, I'm going to have a bunch of content coming up after that. The normal stuff like how much did I spend on that free comped cruise, how the casino is, how I did in the casino, the slots I recommend you play and avoid in order to stretch your bankroll and earn marketing comps with Princess. And then I'm going to do a star versus star mega battle. Which ship is better in key categories, in my opinion. So I hope you'll stick around for all of those. Hopefully you're subscribed and you click the notification bell so you know when those videos are coming out. And if you found this video valuable, please throw it a like. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching.